Carmentary, Neil here. Hot topic and a couple hot takes today. The Japanese city of Kyoto is banning tourists from some private alleys in its Geisha district. It's not really the right word for it. It's an area called Gion in the city of Kyoto. The city will place signs in both English and Japanese around the areas called Gion, warning tourists to stay clear, as well as fine anyone who doesn't listen, the Associated Press reported. Ooh. The title of the story, Kyoto is implementing more rules for tourists. So, quite a few big YouTubers have been talking about this. I just finished watching a video from that guy, super famous British YouTuber based in Tokyo, does great videos, he's amazing. I'm sorry, I forgot his name right now. Anyway, I thought I'd comment on it. I've been to Kyoto numerous times. I have spent some time in that area. They're talking about Gion. I have actually spent a day filming, professionally filming a, not a geisha, a maiko. And we'll get into the difference in a moment because that's important. There's so many details in this story that are lost in translation here. And even when you watch some of these videos where people are commenting on it, they don't really go into, you know, what is Gion? What is Gion? What do these geisha and maiko do? Like, why are they even there? And, you know, that's the kind of information that I think is rather important. Just for a moment though, let's go over what the problem is. So, this area in the city of Kyoto is famous as, it's a beautiful little area, these narrow little streets with these little back alleyways, and it's just filled with basically bars, okay? They don't call them bars, but they are drinking establishments. They're basically private drinking establishments. They're called like houses, and there will be one lady who is probably a former geisha or somehow related, and she'll be like the stable master, and she'll have her staff of geisha and maiko. Maiko is the young version, the apprentice to become a geisha. Geisha, white face makeup, kimono, the whole deal with the wig. Those wigs alone cost tens of thousands of dollars. They don't even make them anymore. I think they're like handed down. Anyway, so young girls from around Japan, I don't know if they have to audition or apply or how it exactly works, but they pull young girls from about the age of 15 to come to Kyoto and learn the tradition and the skills and everything you need to be a true geisha. Now, what is a geisha? Let's go to our favorite source of misinformation, Wikipedia. Geisha, also known as geiko, are female Japanese performing artists and entertainers trained in traditional Japanese performing art styles such as dance, music, and singing, as well as being proficient conversationalists and hosts. So they kind of covered that in a nice layer of sweet sugar there. The important part is those last two words, conversationalist and host. Hostess is probably the more accurate word. So Japan has a thing called hostess bars. Hostess bars are basically bars where they have a lot of ladies working. They have all different grades. You have really cheap, trashy ones to really kind of high-end, expensive ones where the ladies are dressed nicer. They're educated, trained, maybe a little more cultured, and they're good conversationalists and hosts. So in the higher end hostess bar, you'll have you know, CEOs and presidents of companies, you know, kind of elite type people will come in the evening and they'll socialize. Maybe they'll bring some business partners or, you know, they'll kind of gather their crew and they'll entertain them, and these ladies will help in the entertainment process. And they will serve drinks, they will drink together, and everybody's happy. Hostess bars, I believe, are basically a cheap, modern-day, crappy version of what the Geisha system is. The Geisha system operates in a much more secretive, much more high-end, much more elite manner. This is for the uber rich, the ultra rich in Japan, and has been historically for a long time. Gion especially. So you'll have these young girls who come at about age 15, and they train for about 5 years until they're about 20, and then, I don't know, maybe some of them quit, they can't take it. The ones who stick around eventually become the true geisha. When everybody like geisha, 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 when everybody's talking about geisha walking around in Gion, most of what you're seeing are maiko, these young apprentice girls. They dress much more colorful, they don't have the super expensive wigs. I think there's differences in the makeup. I'm not an ultra professional, but I'm speaking from my personal experience. When I went there, spent a day filming in one of these houses with two of these young maiko girls. It was for an eyewear brand, and I learned a whole lot. And what I got to see was sort of the real back end, you know. Everybody just sees the front side of these shops. They don't even have like names on them. You don't even know how you could go in there. You can't go in there. You're not allowed in there. They're basically private clubs for the owners of these girls. Now, I don't want to, that sounds terrible. They're not maybe owners as in like it's not slavery, but these uber wealthy men are basically paying. They're like the sugar daddy. It's like a sugar daddy system. It's like a well-regulated, organized sugar daddy system. So these guys will pay money to the house to support the girl of their choice. So maybe they hang out there, maybe there's a new girl and she's got the makeup on, she's a great conversation, they hit it off. He's like, oh, I want to take care of this girl. And we're talking like large sums of money here. From what I heard, I don't know, I heard something around like $30,000 a year. Now, you know, it's kind of like sending your daughter to university here in Japan. Like you're paying the tuition, you're paying for the housing, etc. Same kind of situation, but someone who's totally unrelated. So you see where I'm going with this. There's a whole deep world of Japanese tradition and culture and heritage and all kinds of stuff packed into these two words that everyone throws around, Gion and Geisha. It's like you can't just go Gion, Geisha. It's like there's a whole lot of stuff running in the background. You know, you're looking at the operating system on the screen, but there's a massive layer of motherboards and circuitry and processors behind that running that system. So when you go there as a tourist and you walk around the streets and you're like, oh, it's so beautiful here, let's take a picture. Oh, look, here comes a geisha. She's probably not even a geisha. She's probably a maiko. She's walking down the street. Tourists are like snapping, jumping in front of them, snapping pictures. They wear these ungodly, massive heeled shoes that are super hard to walk in, like sandals. I've heard stories of these girls getting knocked down. I've heard stories of, you know, people pulling on them, trying to get them to turn around so they can get a shot of their face. Basically just obstructing their movements. And as part of their job, I guess they go from like private, you know, maybe dormitories or residences to their place of work, you know, at certain times, or maybe they go to another place to meet another customer. They're moving around, they're doing their job, and all these tourists are just hanging out going, oh look, it's one of the Disneyland cast members. Let's get a picture with Mickey the Geisha. So it's a no. Now when I went there and I was tasked with doing this filming, we had permission from the sugar daddy, we had permission from the house, and we had permission from the Maiko who we were filming. And we did not have any like official filming permits. Japan is kind of still way behind on the official filming permits. Unless you're like a massive, movie production, then you'll need to obviously, rent space, get permits. But for small, low-key brands and little filming things, it's still very unregulated. So we were obviously, though, conscious of what we were doing, and we were super careful. And we tried to clear everything with the locals, and we had a very small crew of 2-3 people, and we filmed some shots outdoors walking in the alleyways with the Maiko, and it was a really, really cool experience. But for me personally, it was more interesting to see the whole back end of this unique culture. I think it's great. I have no problem with the whole system. There are things about it I'm sure I don't know. You could probably go a couple layers deeper, and yeah, whatever. But all I'm saying is that you have to understand that that area serves a specific purpose in the culture. It's a very necessary thing, and tourists walking around on those streets is absolutely not a necessity for those businesses. They don't need that. They don't want that. They're not interested in it. It just happens that millions of tourists come to Kyoto every year, and Gion, because it is quite beautiful, has become a real photogenic spot. So I believe it was the last time I was there, maybe like 2 years ago, we stopped through. I noticed they had signs up everywhere that now said, no photography, no filming, 10,000 yen fine. So if you had your smartphone out and you were snapping pictures of one of the Maiko walking around the streets, you could get fined 10,000 yen, which is like, now it's like, what, $60? I mean, people might even be like, hell, I'll take the fine. What's $60 for a great photo of, one of these Maiko or Geisha walking around on the streets? No, I need it for my gram, man. I need it for the feed. I don't think that did anything to stop people. Maybe I see stuff like that and I'm like, oh, okay, shit, all right, no photos. I'm cool with that, Or I walk further away and I get my zoom lens out. I just try not to be an asshole. You don't want to be an asshole sticking your camera in someone's face. Or you can go super street photography style, shooting from the hip with a silent shutter. There's ways to get your photo or get a photo without being a total ass. And that is the problem. There are a lot of asses out there, and they ruin it for everybody. Anyway, it looks like they're serious about actually banning tourists. Now, here's the thing though. Can they really enforce it? Are they going to put some security guard or police person on, the entryway to these little alleyways? I mean, they are very narrow little alleyways. It is quite easy to police them. But then what are you, like, checking passports? What about people like me who I've lived here like over 30 years and I speak perfect Japanese. I might actually have some business in there, like that photo shoot. I might actually have something to do in there, and then, how are they going to patrol that, check that? It seems kind of silly. I think they're just trying to cut down on the number, maybe get rid of the overly obnoxious, larger tour groups, maybe by announcing this and putting up signs and threatening fines. Maybe it keeps away, the worst offenders, and everybody else is like, yeah, okay, just don't be an ass. You can go in, look around, you can snap a couple photos in silent mode, and you're all good. But just don't be a total tourist ass. Well, did I cover everything? I think I covered everything. Basically, it's another lesson to not believe everything you hear and read about other cultures, you know. I think even in your own culture, it's hard to really know and understand every little aspect of culture and these little micro cultures that exist in certain places. And then to go to a completely foreign land with another language and go, oh, Gion and the Geisha, yeah, I read about it on Wikipedia. They're conversationalists and hosts, and they sing and dance, man. It's cool. We can go get photos of them when they walk around. Sorry, I hope that accent didn't offend anybody. I didn't mean it. That was my rude American. I was just trying to act like a rude American. Yeah, I have no real solution, but I think we're going to see more and more of these issues across the board, whether it's super crowded lifts at a ski resort here in Uchiko, Hokkaido, or if it's over tourism and rude people pulling on the hair of the wigs of geishas walking in the streets of Gion. There was a whole bunch of other stuff that I just didn't even know about, and I learned in that guy's video. I'll get you his name, he's really good. We'll close on that. And basically, there's like people have been carving their names in the pillars of like ancient temples. You know how people do that, like Andrew and Jennifer forever, you know, that kind of a thing. There was, what else was there? There was a couple like that. And then of course we had that whole series of like over-the-top rude influencers, like doing live streams and just berating people. And there was one guy spending 3 years in jail. I wonder if he's enjoying his live broadcast of jail time there. So be careful. Now let me get to this guy's name.
So last week I was in Kyoto having a quiet stroll.
There he is. Abroad in Japan. I think his name's Chris. It's his channel. Abroad in Japan is the channel. British guy, great, super famous, 3 million followers. He makes really interesting videos. If you don't know about him, you should check him out. But if you know about me, you must know about this guy. I don't know why I'm the one introducing him. I need him to introduce me. Anyway, that's it for today. Let me know what you think, and I'll be back with more soon. Drive safe.